Hey guys, this is Michael again. This is Mortal Kombat Arcade Collection for the PS3. I was actually really excited about this. I really like the PS3 version of Mortal Kombat that just came out recently. It wasn't deep like Street Fighter, because I get my ass handed to me even by like the most like weakest player ever. They'll still destroy me. Like I said, like, I love video games, I love playing them, but I'm not always the best at them. Mortal Kombat I fare a little bit better because I don't have to remember all these complicated combos and everything, but there's a little bit of depth to it, so it makes it a little bit easier. So when I saw the arcade versions like that comes with Mortal Kombat, you'll see in a second. I don't need to tell you, you're smart. Hold on, see, they have to spell collection with a K, so they're pretty straight with that. I do miss seeing the Midway sign. It's sad not to see the Midway sign anymore. It's Warner Brothers. Now, you can play an online game, you have leaderboards, everything, like what standard games have. It says it runs on the Unreal 3 engine. I'm guessing it's just for these arcade cabinets because everything else is emulated. I do like that they added these. If I say anything wrong, like if you want any advice with Mortal Kombat, go to TMK's YouTube channel, like TMK Total Mortal Kombat. It's this dude from Australia. He knows everything about it. And since they changed from Warner Brothers to Midway, like, I mean, I actually said the opposite. Midway to Warner Brothers, they're kind of like treating Australians kind of crappy, even though he's trying to advertise their game, because for some reason Australians are banning it, but they let games like Fallout 3, which in my opinion are just as violent, if not more, and has more crazy themes. But anyway, I'm not even doing anything right now, I'm standing still, so I was pretty excited to play these. But going back at these, I realized how much I appreciate the evolution of Mortal Kombat. I didn't care much for the 3D ones, but I did like the 2D ones. But I really appreciate the latest Mortal Kombat that came out. So we're gonna start with Mortal Kombat 1, and again, this is coming from my capture card. So I'm playing on the size of a Game Boy screen right now until I can play on my TV. Right now it's in a mode to make it look like the arcade. Like, I don't know why, I just like this mode. It reminds me of the arcade screen, because I played all these in the arcade at first before they came to consoles. I begged my mom to take me to the mall. I'm so happy that they actually emulate the first Mortal Kombat. It's the most simplest version of like all three games, but I don't know, like, has some nostalgic purpose. I'm gonna get my ass handed to me because I'm playing on a small screen, and I'm gonna get my ass handed to me because this is an arcade emulation. I'm not the best game player, and this game was meant to pump quarters. And since I'm playing on the capture card, I'm dyslexic. I meant to do this, which helped me none. As far as emulation goes, I'll show you an example. It's really good, except when you pause the game, alright? Now, one thing I do like is the moves list, because that is freaking helpful. You don't have to go on facts. Now, I can't read. I think it's this option. Yeah, as you can see, this is like the most basic of Mortal Kombat's like 3 moves, right? And one's a fatality out of those 3. But it's I don't know, it's nostalgic like Pac-Man is. At least to me. I know some people don't like, they're like, oh, Street Fighter, and I know this is not the deepest game, but I always had fun, and Mortal Kombat 3 tried to be like Street Fighter. But anyway, look, there's this crazy lag for a second. I can't do anything for like 2 seconds after you're done like pausing it. There you go, folks. That's probably the only fatality I'll be able to do during this video. I was very lucky. Like the other two Mortal Kombats, I don't know if it's for emulation. I remember having more time, at least on the console version. Gosh, like, I'm playing on a capture screen on my computer, so the lag's pretty bad, so, but I'm just trying to give you a feel of the games anyway. But like the time to do a fatality on 2 and then Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, which I'm surprised they didn't add just regular Mortal Kombat 3. I don't know why, but the fatality time to do something is like ridiculous. It's like 1 second. At least it is to me, but like I said, that, my friend, is called luck. I feel like I'm playing on like the Game Gear version, except better, because as much lag as this is. Wow, 2. How about that? Usually after the first 2 wins, all of a sudden, like, the computer seems to know exactly what you're going to do before you do it, which is pretty cheap. I've originally played this game on the Sega Genesis, which wasn't the prettiest version, but it was the only version beside the Game Gear version, and I guess the Master System, and the PC, but those didn't come down till later on. Well, at least the PC didn't, but the 2 main versions were the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, and everybody liked the Sega Genesis, although I hear the Super Nintendo as glitchy as it was, which I really didn't get to play because I had a Sega Genesis, but at the time anyway, I played it on emulation, but I heard as glitchy as the Super Nintendo was, it had the speed of the arcade. Like the Sega Genesis speed was off. I don't remember whether it was too slow or too fast. 3. You know what that means. And I want to show you guys the pit, because this is one of the few versions of I was never good at tapping them, but at the time when the 16-bit versions came out, they didn't have the bodies at the bottom of the pit. Raiden's gonna kick my ass, but I hope he at least uppercuts me. Why are you so mean to me? The guy who plays Raiden, like, still actually does the motion capture for all the games. He's like one of the only original, like, actors to even be involved. I got creamed, so I'm going to cheap tactics. Please, thank you. Alright, now that that's complete, we shall go on to see Mortal Kombat 2, and I hope I'm picking the right thing, because I cannot see crap. Alright, Mortal Kombat 2. This is considered, out of the 3 originals, the best of the games. As much as I like 2, and when I was a kid I would have said it. Like, this part wasn't in any of the console versions until the 32X version came out. The story, the text was in the Super Nintendo. Sega Genesis had nothing, but you didn't have the pictures. I always had to look in magazines to see what I was missing out in the arcade, because when you had the Sega Genesis, they were fine, and the graphics were kind of weak and stuff like that, but it was still fun. As a kid, I liked it, but I also liked the Power Rangers game. But when I went to the arcade, it was like I was playing the most advanced system in the world. And now it kind of looks like an antique. I don't know who to play as. This game seems to have more bass in the sound. The graphics are better. Ironically, it runs on the same engine. I think Mortal Kombat 3 runs on a different engine. They got more RAM. They had this on the Arcade Treasures collection on Midway, but they weren't emulated properly. Like the shadows would flicker. This version seems pretty straight on. As you can see, they had a lot of whoops in it than the original ever wanted to have. Oh, another fatality. That's probably going to be the last one because I don't remember any of the ones from 3. This one gets hard really fast. This one's a lot faster. This one's, at least computer-wise, I don't know, I was never a championship player, but computer-wise, like, this game won at your quarters, and it would cheat if it had to. But like I said, most people consider this the most balanced one. I thought 3 got pretty crazy with the animalities and the combos and all that crap. It was just too much, at least for me. Like, there's people who play Street Fighter that I can remember a bunch of stuff that I could never imagine to. But Mortal Kombat, even though, like, it's kind of simple and it cheats, I don't know, like, these old digitalized graphics hold a special place in my heart. That might not be much space to fill, but it fills it. As you can see, I only remember only one of Reptile's moves. I always hated Jax. Whenever I played the arcade, it always put me against Jax for the first time, and I'd always lose the first match. I'm also not acquainted to using a joystick. I always want the arcade to do a fatality on me too, like, just so I could see what it looks like. Well, that's Mortal Kombat 2 for you. Now we'll go to the final one, Ultimate 3, which was originally on the Xbox Live Arcade, but never made it to the PlayStation Network, and finally we get a version. One thing that I miss from Mortal Kombat 3 that's not an Ultimate Mortal Kombat, like 2 had the story. I don't see that in here. I don't know whether they cut it out or it wasn't an Ultimate Mortal Kombat Arcade. I can't remember, so I can't give you accurate information. But this has a lot of characters in it, almost too many. And there's just so much stuff in this game. I mean, it kept you busy. Like, these games are meant to be played really with 2 players that have the most fun, like human players, ones that don't actually know what you're gonna do. Unless you play a tournament player, and then you might as well be playing against the computer. I think you're supposed to put in a code then. I can't remember. I used to know almost everything about these games, and now I know nothing. I'm so happy for the moves list, but I can't read it off of this screen. See, these are the new characters that weren't in 3. We have Scorpion, Jade, Reptile, and Katana. They weren't in there, and it picked Reptile for me. Now I know for a fact I'm going to get Korean. I probably will anyway, because now this game is probably, in my opinion, the hardest of them all. I remember the first time I saw that, I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. I don't even know what I did there. It looked cool though. Wonder if any of the old 2 moves work. Yeah, the acid works, and that's the only move I know that Reptile has. Each Mortal Kombat game, Reptile always like ends up being more dinosaur-like. They scaled it back a little bit. Like Armageddon's Reptile is ridiculous. I mean, yeah, I understand like you can get away from the digitalized characters, but don't change them so drastically. If you looked at the character, you wouldn't even know who it was. And I think the new Mortal Kombat kind of fixed a lot of that. I'm really happy. I'm kind of curious what they're going to come up with next, because I really didn't. I like Deception, but it still never felt like Mortal Kombat. It just felt like a new series. As much as I thought 4 was pretty average, like I thought 4 felt like more like a game than the 3D ones. One thing I didn't think was fair when they came out with games straight from the consoles, which they changed in the new one and then this one too. Like, I didn't think it was fair that you had to guess like what the fatalities were unless you got like a strategy guide or a magazine or the internet. I can understand the arcade were secrets, but exclusive to consoles, like at that point I felt like everything should be in the game's manual. But that's just my personal opinion. There might be people like, the magic's in pushing all the buttons. But the combinations are so obscure, like hold block, push up, push down, forward A, or high punch, low kick if you were playing like the arcade or whatever. I made that up, that's not an actual move. But yeah, I felt like by the time they came out with the exclusive to console ones, they should have at least like had a moves list like they do here. I mean, you still gotta beat the damn people that do the moves, and like learn how to pull off the combos. Just because you know the buttons doesn't mean you're good at pulling off. Like, this is where the game starts to get cheap. FYI, these are all the backgrounds so far have been the ultimate Mortal Kombat background. See, this is like your annoying kid brother playing or something, just using the same moves over again. And you're like, I know how to play, man, you're cheating, you're being cheap. But they still beat you. See, they have to brag, because they know I don't know the combos. But anyway, this video is getting kind of lengthy. That's the Mortal Kombat Arcade Collection. If you like, I'd suggest playing online with other people. If you like Mortal Kombat, like the old ones, like if you expect it to be like the new one that came out, like don't expect that. It's a lot more. It's a lot cheaper, a lot shallower. Like the only thing that's cheap in the new one are the bosses, which don't get me into that. Like Shao Kahn's like impossible, but that's the same thing here. That's the only thing that they carried over that was shitty from the old ones. But yeah, like if you can play online with people and you don't get lag, I definitely suggest it. If you played this in the arcades or the console versions, if you were a kid of the mid to late 90s, probably around the time you watch Power Rangers and your mom didn't let you play it, or even if you're an adult, like $10 is not a bad deal. Like I play it on and off. It's like a quick game. Like I wouldn't play it for hours, but yeah, definitely. So yeah, that's my playing of Ultimate Mortal Kombat. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, subscribe, and if you already subscribed and you like watching my videos, I appreciate it, because I don't have a lot of fans, and the fans I do have, I really appreciate it. So anyway, take care. Talk to you later. Bye.